Okay, I've just switched to night vision mode, and I've got the laser rangefinder switched on. The IR is at level 4, and as you can see, there's a rabbit over there. I'm going to range it 227 yards. I'll up the magnification. Oh, there's 2 of them. That's 20 times 227 yards, and you can see there's a lot of detail there. I'll just get by the focus. Unfortunately, they're right on the edge of that fence line, but that's a, that's a shootable rabbit with the right rifle. 227 yards. It's showing out of range, which means it can't, I think that means it can't move the reticle far enough to give an accurate solution for this particular bullet. When it's coming up and saying out of range, I think that's what it means. The reticle cannot move far enough, and if I put it into holdover mode, the red marker would be off the bottom of the reticle. So it's just a limitation of the particular ammunition I'm using. I'll go back to 5 times. Now it's not really dark yet, but the IR is doing a pretty good job. I'm going to put it into, that's full power IR. I'm going to put it into IR auto, which basically adjusts itself to the conditions. Obviously I've got the IR beam on as tight as it'll go, but when I look through the pip, that's a bloody good image. Very good image at that range for rabbits. I'll just check that again. You can see the IR flashing. 231 yards, 233, 233. And if you look at the pip is obviously double that. In the pip there wouldn't be a difficult shot. Let's see if we can find anything else over here. Now you can see when I'm at shorter range, the IR is not filling the field of view. I'll back the IR off, widen it out a bit, but I think that's going to work against me when I come around here. Also, you'll notice that big white bush just now didn't flood out. I'm tightening the beam. I'd say the IR is pretty good. I mean, that's the onboard IR was clearly illuminating rabbits out at 227 yards. I don't think you're not going to need an external illuminator with this thing unless you're shooting stupid distances. If I ping that bank up there, it's 182 yards. Now it does put a mark on the reticle. Let's see if we can find anything else, just using the IR. Not in that bit of the world. Just those same rabbits we were looking at. Right, let's see how the IR compensation works. I'm looking at a target that's a long way away. If I bring it down, you can see that immediately it doesn't stay whited out. You can see there's a lot of white in the bottom of the field of view, or a little bit of white, but if I come down and look at that, the IR compensation cuts the IR power and stops it whiting out, which is another great feature of this scope, I have to say. I noticed this on the rangefinder version, and I was quite impressed by it. Oh, there's something up there. A wee flash of eyes. It's gone now. Oh, there it is. I'd have to say this zoom control is quite difficult to find sometimes. Okay, you can see the flash of eyes. I'll bump up the magnification. That's us up at 20. The rangefinder on 194 yards. That's out of range for this, but you can still see that. Actually, it may not be a rabbit. It might be a pheasant. Going for the eye shines coming from it very, very top. I think it's probably a pheasant rather than a rabbit. Oh well, that's good. Oh, we've got some rabbits running about the front here now. That's good. Again, you'll notice that we're not. They're going to be a little bit closer. Oh, that's a pity. Oh, here they come. One, 3, 5. And you can see I've got it in holdover. That would be and that's getting pretty close to the bottom of the reticle, 135. That's just because of the ammunition I'm using. I'll bring back the magnification a bit. Again, I'm not whiting out the target in the way that you would with a typical. What was that bunny there? Yes. I said he was more than 48 yards, but honestly, I'm not even sure it's a rabbit. May just be tucked down the wee hollow. Yep, 48 yards. I'm thinking it's maybe a mouse or a rat or something. You can see there in the distance. Oh dear. 434 yards. It's now dark. And the IR is picking them up. 2, 3, 4, 5. They're a little bit eye shine. And those little specks there are rabbits, and they're about the same range. So I think from what we've seen tonight, I think we can say that the Arken works very, very well at long range. I mean, that is stupid. That is crazy. 392 yards those two road here. And if I put the cross on them when I'm looking at them, and now I bump up the magnification, yeah, it gets a bit grainy at full mag. There's no doubt of that. But That's still not bad. And when I look in the pit box at times 40, I'm getting plenty. I'm getting eye shine off it when it turns. Where's his pal? There's his pal. Yep. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. Given the price of the product we're looking at, and you know, without having to add any bits to it. I'm not sure that putting another IR would really make that any better, to be truthful with you. I've got a couple of IRs with me, so I better try them, otherwise you'll tell me that, oh, you should have tried more IR. So that's what we'll do. And even without any IR, we've still got something of a picture. As I say, it's pretty much full dark now. Not very good. You know, I'm not making any great claims for the low light performance of this. I think you get a hit an Alpex or a C50, you would be getting a bit more detail, but you wouldn't see them at that range because they're much lower magnification. And if I drop the magnification, if I can find it, there you go. That's better now. Back to 5. You can see them quite clearly. Quite clearly. That's pretty damn good for a scope with a sensor with pretty small pixels and a fairly long focal length lens. Quite impressed with that. Right, I need to try and get this external IR rigged up and see how it performs. Okay, I've just switched on I've just fitted the Black Sun Dark Engine Blade IR from the Night Vision store. And again, I'm looking at those deer at about 400 yards. And it's a good image. Nothing wrong with that at all. See if we can tighten up a bit. No, I think that's probably where it wants to be. Is it? Or are my fingers getting in the way? No. Back in is fully tight. So that's a good image with the blade. Now what I'm going to do is, and that's a blade on full power and it's tight as beam. I'm going to switch that off, and I'm going to switch. You can still see them. And I'm putting the Arken into auto, IR auto, and it's flickering a little bit. It's trying to find the right power. I'll take it out of there and it's off. On lowest. It was a big jump between 2 and 3. You can see that. 4. That's maximum power now. Let's try the blade. And that's the blade on. That's the blade off. Blade on. Blade off. Not a huge difference. I'll put the you can see that the Arken is hunting, the IR auto setting, it's hunting for the right power. So maybe at this range it would be better left in a single power. I'll switch it off. Switch the blade on. Arguably the blade is a little bit better at this range, but there's not much in it. Let's say we'll go and have a look for some stuff that's a bit closer. See how we get on. The other thing to notice is that the field of view of the blade is quite narrow. I'm going to switch the blade off again. I can find the button. I'll switch the Arken on again. It's 1 and 2, they're pretty low power, they're very low power. Really, not power 3 you see it coming in, power 4 and power 5, that's maximum. It's slightly wider. But I mean, we're looking at stuff 400 and odd yards away. I mean, it's, you know, that's, quite frankly, it's ridiculous. I'm going to switch the IR off, and you can still see those animals going round. You can see there's a roe deer sitting there. You don't see much difference at power 1. You don't see much difference at power 2. Power 3 is really when you start to see some reasonable level of illumination. Power 4 makes it a bit, you know, brighter. And then that's us in 5. The deer is 241 yards. It's obviously out of range for this ammunition. If I put it into auto, let's see how it behaves in auto. Yeah, it's hunting a bit in auto, try to find the brightness. I think this auto setting is better for possibly shorter range targets. There's a couple of rabbits down there, which are at 189. We've got a lot of foliage in front of us here that would normally cause major whiteout. I'm still impressed by the no IR low light performance of this thing. It's way better than I expected it to be. I must admit, I did not think its low light performance would be up to much. But in these conditions, and where I'm looking at with my eyes across those deer, it's just black. You can't see anything. But you know, I probably an Alpex or a C50 would be giving you more. You know, you'd be seeing them with Alpex and C50 as well. But this is pretty damn good. The biggest problem I'm having tonight is finding the zoom control. My hands are cold. I'm struggling to get my fingers on it. Right, I'm going to boost this up. Yeah, as you go, as soon as you start to put in some digital zoom, you get a lot of artifacts, let's call them, in the image, and it doesn't make it any better, it makes it worse. So at 20 times, really, that's just not worth bothering with. But back at times 5, it's not bad. We're looking at a couple of rabbits here at 150 yards, and we're on IR2. If I bump it IR up to 3, that definitely improves the picture. It's a little bit focus fussy. And you can see the whiteout in the foreground is being pretty well controlled. It's not causing the bit of the image we're interested in to be too. And if I open up the beam a bit, get a wider area that's illuminated without losing really any brightness. We're in IR3. I'm going to go, that's IR5, and I go IR auto, and see what it makes of it. It's still hunting a bit. Still struggling to find that. That's on 5 times. That's on 12.5. The range are we saying these are? 160, 150 yards. Little buggers have gone, but never mind. Notice that the LRF splash is staying in the red box. No problem with that at all. I wouldn't want to move that LRF splash. It's not bad where it is. Obviously if you go up to higher mag, right, the LRF splash moves further up the screen. You've got to move a little bit more to get it on the target. But at lower mag, it's quite easy to cover the target with it. As I say, the red box which you would use to align the LRF during daytime is spot on. And that rabbit there was perfectly shootable. I'll come down to town 5 mag, and he's 10 in the pip. One little thing I've noticed here is if you want to switch the rangefinder off, the ballistic calculator is giving you a holdover point in the main reticle, and if you want to look at the target in the pip, you've got to bring that aiming point up to the target to be able to see that same target in the pip. Be quite maybe an idea to be able to just switch the. Well, I can switch the ballistic calculator off, and it would range without doing any shifting. So I'm quite happy to leave it on at the moment. Well, boys, it's getting a little bit cold out here now. I think it's time for this old manny to go home and get heated up. But I think we've shown enough of this scope tonight to know that it can do a heck of a lot of stuff. The image is great. We all know it's good at short range. We've seen plenty of videos at short range, but tonight I wanted to get a look at longer range stuff, and it performs better at longer range than I actually thought it would do. It'd be perfectly good enough for all sort of rimfire work and centerfire and foxing work. I think perhaps if you put it on a high power rifle, you might have issues with not having enough eye relief, but I would think on your typical foxing rifles like 223 and stuff like that, you would be okay.